Welcome back to True Print for Life. I'm your host, Christina Vera.
And I'm your co-host, Maylin, Sambois.
So, welcome back for another amazing episode. And I think this episode will be amazing, well, obviously because you're listening and we appreciate that. But I think it's always a great opportunity just to check in and to reflect as we are now in fourth quarter, which is crazy. Like October went in a blink of an eye.
Like, the 20th?
Yeah, today is the 20th. And so understanding that like this is a whole nother year that is almost past, like 2026 is literally just around the corner. Like if you think about it, we only have like 2 weeks left in October, and then boom, November,
that's
holidays, like, and then it's like Happy New Year.
Yeah, people get like on the holiday spirit like November 1st.
Well, I've been fighting not to put up my Christmas tree.
Except Christina. She has been on the spirit for like since like July.
It's my favorite. I don't know what it is. Like I've been on a Christmas TikTok since about July. Like some algorithm something popped that I must have liked or watched. And literally since summer, I've been seeing like New York Christmases. And I was like, girl, it's hot outside. Like, why are you watching these things? But I think it's so important to like be able to take time to pause and just find things that do bring you joy, do bring you excitement. Because I think oftentimes, like many of us, like us and the people listening and people we work with, like sometimes you're just constantly in this go, like grind. And it was interesting because I feel like, I don't remember when we talked about this, but it was like, we both kind of said, like, listen, that whole grind mentality, like, I think I understood it in my 20s and most of my 30s. But now I'm at a point where it's like, actually, I don't necessarily want to continue to be on this, like, grind culture. Like, I want to really be mindful of, like, how do I build an authentic type of experience for like this season of my life.
Yeah, because it's no longer sexy. Like back in the day, it was like, yes, hustle. Like you just hustle until you burn out. And that was like such a badge to wear. Like if you were not hustling and bustling and team no sleep, then people would look at you like something was wrong with you.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, like we neglected rest and family time and all of these things. And I don't know what the switch happened, if it's because we're in our 40s, if because we've been on this for over 15 years and we're like, no, listen, like this is all great. We're going to continue to do amazing, but we also have to incorporate joy, wellness, rest, family, which is very important. So like kind of bringing to the top of the line, like what is important for us in addition to everything we're doing.
Right.
And I think a lot of people that are seasoned on this are starting to see that. Like, listen, there's more to this. Like you can build authentically from a restful place.
Yeah. Because the cost of carrying too much, I believe, like the cost is high.
Very high.
Whether it's your health, whether it's your relationships, whether it's your finances. And I think, I think we talked about this in like some past episode where this lady posed this question to me and she was like, well, did it cost you something?
What's the cost?
And so interestingly enough, when you think about this, like, this grind, go hard mentality, like what is the cost and what is the cost of carrying? Okay. And you might be in that grind season, right? And I think that everybody's in different stages and phases and and I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that if you really have taken the time to say, like, is this really purposeful? Is this really necessary? Like, what is it that I'm trying to do? And does it still require me to go as hard? You see those TikToks online when they're like when they're like, I don't have no kids. I don't have to go as hard. And that's like, wait, what? So it's just kind of thinking through, like, what do you really need in terms of just your everyday life to feel like fulfilled and successful?
Yes, and to that though, if you are in that grind, I mean, we're all working hard. Like I wish I knew then the things I know now, right? Because maybe there's things that I don't remember because we were going so fast, right? Like we were, I don't regret anything. There's people that remind me things and I'm like, oh, that I did that or that happened. That's great. I'm so happy it was a positive thing. People are not reminding me of bad things I did. But if you are in this season of grinding and really like working hard, you have to also add space for reflection. You have to
Mhm.
add space for rest, because the cost sometimes is you have a lot of great people that are doing great things in the world don't make it far
Yeah.
because their health don't let them. They
Mhm.
have a heart attack, they burned out, they end up at an institution, like all of these things because they went so hard and they didn't have someone to say slow down, or they didn't take, 30 minutes a day to just like chill for a
Yeah.
second, reflect on what you have done, or build the community. Like for an example, and it's livid in me right now because I had this week fully planned, like from Monday today all the way to like Sunday, because in my mind I had a support, right? Like my mom was gonna be here. So I was like, oh yes, I'm gonna accept all these meetings, all these speaking engagements, all these things. And then life happened and my mom had to leave to New York to take care of a family member.
Mhm.
And I'm not gonna be like, no, don't go because all my things are very important. Well, family is important too.
Mhm.
And specifically this uncle that I really care about. I said, no, you go, you handle it. I'm gonna figure it out. So like maybe like yesterday, I'm in my kitchen like, Jesus Lord, like what, how, right? Like what
Mhm.
do I do? And I made a list of all these things I needed. I said, okay, who is your village? What you have? And I made a list of the things I needed, and I texted one of my support systems and I said, listen, does this all work for you? If it doesn't, let me know. And she's like, it all works. And I found care for my child for those specific days that I know I'm gonna be like, I need to be focused, I need to be on a stage, I need to be speaking. But for a moment I was like really like panicking, like, oh my
Mhm.
God, am I gonna cancel everything? And I'm like, no, you're not gonna cancel nothing. What you're gonna do is make this work,
Right.
right? And then for those of us that are dealing with these things, like I know the panicking comes, but I would suggest that you take a second, write it out, and then look at your village. Do you have a village? I'm looking at what else I can incorporate in my village. Like, I didn't get a chance to do the per hour childcare, which I will incorporate because people get sick, life happens, and I want to have a backup to the backup to the backup. So, but that's just wisdom now, like,
Mhm.
right? Like, the old me could have totally freaked out because they're like, how?
Mhm.
And this gym is like, no, 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 no. People have kids. People make it work. Let's see. And if they say no, then you go find another reason. You find another person. You find another tool, another way. And I'm grateful for my village, but not just like for me, I have a kid, right? So that's the thing for me. But maybe for you is other things that are in the way of you getting accomplished because life just happened and you had all these plans. So I would say as you panic, great. To give yourself 5 minutes, panic all of it out, and then let's create a plan. Let's figure out the facts. Okay, the facts are I have 5 meetings this week. I have to be in X, Y, and Z. Okay, who can help me make sure that happens? Who is my
Mhm.
village? Who's my support system? Where are my coaches? Where are my friends? Reach out to your people and make it happen. Don't feel like you have to do it on your own
Right.
because that's no longer like we no longer have to wear the badge of having to be like the one to do it all superwoman. No, no, no. I am a superwoman because I have an incredible village
Mhm.
that I can depend on. That's what makes me super.
Yeah.
It's not me doing it alone. Doing it alone, I think, is dumb.
Yeah.
For me,
Yeah.
it's no longer cute.
I mean, it's the power of collective growth, right? Like having that village, having those individuals that can pour into you, that can support you, like that is part of growth. That's part of your personal growth. That's part of you being able to also provide opportunities for other people to support you. And I think that's so important that you mentioned that because I think oftentimes you do feel like, okay, I have to figure out these things out by myself. And it's just like, if you're blessed to have a village, leverage that village, especially when there are things that, obviously understanding like what's priority, right? Like what absolutely has to happen this week because there are things that absolutely have to happen this week. And so I love that you are definitely starting to be more like open to the power of like your village and, finding collective growth because it like leveraging your village to amplify like your personal like transformation and like all of that is like I believe is what people were designed to have and to do.
Yes, and I think was blowing me because I asked myself like, well, why is it so hard for you to ask for help? Like
Hmm.
for this, for Jaira, because for other things, I'm like, But I think for me, it was because I feel like this is a choice that I made,
Hmm.
and like bringing people into it felt like like, no, you have to figure it out because you made this choice of bringing this child to the earth, and you're a single mom and you made that choice. But then I'm like, I did, but I'm also there for other people. I'm
Yeah.
also being there for other people.
Right.
And I think from that lens, I think as whoever you are, women, I mean, there's men also that are single fathers that are going through a lot. It's like, yes, you're in this situation. Yes, we made choices that got us here. But now is how do we work from this? And like you said, I really love that you said that, giving people an opportunity. Like, fundraising. I always tell people, like, give people an opportunity to give.
Yeah.
People they want to be part of something big. They want to be part of something bigger than themselves. And I had to start seeing fundraising and advocating for our own causes as I am extending an opportunity for people
Right.
to be part of something great. And then they get to say yes or no, and it's their choice. But if I
Right.
don't ask, that I'm not extending the opportunity.
Right.
And that is really like a disservice.
Yeah.
So I'm like, don't worry, my friends, you're all gonna get the opportunity.
I love that. And I think it's because, also recognizing that while you're building, you are also like not only building a business, but building personally, right? And so understanding that becoming, transforming as you're becoming a mom, and now Jaira's going to be 3. And so it's just like the transformation of like just all of that. And motherhood is, it's constantly evolving. There's not one set formula. And I think that, if you are a parent or, taking care of a family member or your parents, or if you're a doggy mom, like all of that still like everybody needs support and everybody needs something different at different seasons. And, not giving yourself grace in a space where you feel like you're overwhelmed. You have to, you have these deadlines, you have these things you have to figure out. But you also don't want to like lose yourself, or you don't want to, God forbid, get sick or something happen because you're like in this mindset of like, I got to figure it out. I got to hustle. I got to like no excuses, like no days off. And it's just like, I don't know, like who told us that or like what t-shirt that was on back when we first like really hit corporate America, because I feel like that has been a mantra and a mindset for generations. It's not something that we, individually just came up with. Like, if you look at historically, there's generations where like you went to work, you retired from said company, like, and, so it's transitioning in a way, maybe a little too quickly and too fast for some generations. But I feel like the millennials are kind of like that in between of having that example of the go hard, having that example of you stay and you deal with whatever and you retire and you get your 401k. But then we also get that glimpse of like, I can do what I want to do. I can have passion and purpose at the same time. So I feel like as a generation, we have been exposed and have had a lot of samples that we're still trying to filter through what actually applies to us as individuals, and trying to create habits and, and break habits, quite frankly, to being able to really kind of curate our lives in a way that is meaningful to us.
Yeah, and like as women, we have to like so prove and I think this came from us having to prove ourselves in so many ways, because we have to work 10 times as hard as any man to show our value. And one of the things that we are doing the best we can at is creating a culture where you don't have to do that. So like where we are, you don't have to work 10 times as hard as anybody else. Like we just want you to do your best and what's required, because you don't have to come to a workplace to feel like you have to work 10 times harder to prove that you're worth whatever it is that, people believe you're worth. And I think if we individually start setting that up in our communities, like you don't have to work 10 times as hard.
Right.
Because that is just something that we took on as some type of responsibility. That is not fair. That is burning a lot of women. A lot of women are feeling burned out. We're having a think tank just about that in a couple of days.
Right, Thursday
at the Femergy Center, plug. By the time you hear this, you could probably see some information online. But it is just such a thing now. Now burnout is such a heavy topic because people are working 10 times harder because they feel like they don't have an now. They're feeling lost. AI is coming and people are like, what am I going to do if I don't understand it? I'm going to be left behind. So there's a lot of feelings happening right now. And, I feel like there's a generation that is feeling left out, left behind. And we're looking into some things at how do we support that, because I actually starting to see some things on the internet about that. But my biggest thing is don't feel like you have to work out 10 times as hard.
Right.
Figure out what is your capacity. I'm now almost on a daily basis, like looking at my capacity, like, okay, what can I do less of, but more that it's more impactful? Because maybe there's things that I'm doing that are not moving the needle. They're not important, but they're busy stuff.
Right.
So do I have to do that? Can that be moved? Can I focus on what is going to move the needle and it's impactful? So those are two things for me. Like, it's just not moving the needle, but it's
Yeah.
also impactful. What is the biggest return for your investment? That it doesn't burn you out and doesn't leave you at the hospital. Because at the end, if you don't rest, you're going to be forced to rest.
Right.
Because if you don't do it, God's going to do it for you. He's going to put you on a thing. You have to sit down for a couple weeks, and then it's not going to, nobody's going to win at that point.
Right. Yeah, no. And I think you said it right. I think it's, understanding that building anything, building a company, building a family, building a relationship, it takes time, it takes attention, it takes details, it takes it takes a version of you that you probably haven't even fully met yet. And that continues to evolve, and so building legacy is important. It's not just about labels, it's not just about titles. It's really about trying to be as intentional as we can in the spaces and in the rooms that we're in. And it ties me back to one of the chapters in our book, The Responsibility of Being Great. We talked about this on a panel a couple of weeks ago. And I think that, as we know, basically, if you read the book and when you read the book, in the chapter, it talks a lot about what is the responsibility of being great, and that it's really tied to accountability, resilience, and grace and leadership. And so understanding that even though we want to have this soft life, right? Because I feel like part of what we are describing now is something that folks um, may label as a soft life, but there is still a responsibility on your life, whether that's in your household or your business or your whatever that looks like for you, because it applies differently, but it does apply. There is a responsibility, and I think if you're saying yes to everything and giving half-ass to things that are really priority, then you are in a way not holding up your responsibility of being great. And so when we say great, it's not from this lens of perfectionism. It's from the lens of progress, understanding that, we are growing in any space that we're in, and recognizing that if we really want to be good stewards of the gifts God have given us, good stewards of, the fact that you get to be a mother, good stewards of the fact that you get to run a team, that you get to run a business, that you get to wake up and put shoes on your feet. What are you really stewarding that in the best possible way? Now, some days it may not look the way it should, but you don't get stuck there. You don't become complacent, because at the end of the day, we truly believe that everybody has a gift, everybody has a purpose. And so understanding that even when things get hard, that doesn't give you a pass to just do whatever.
Or not do anything at all.
Right, or not do anything at all. So in the book, really would be interested if for our listeners, once again, our latest book is called The Journey from Who You Are to Who You're Meant to Be. It is on Amazon now. And throughout the book, it talks about so many different tips and tools as it relates to mindset and different disciplines, and really just shifting behavior, shifting, outlook and perspective, and really helping to provide a roadmap for transformation in whatever area of life that something is resonating with you. Like maybe it's transformation of a relationship, maybe it's transformation of a workplace. But we all are on a journey, and ideally should be transforming at different seasons of our life.
Yes, and I find it helpful because, as we grow, things change. And I find in the book, like, even if you read it once and you're facing something, you can go back. And like wherever you are in that time of your life, and you can go to the chapter that's going to give you like those tools. Because at the end of every chapter, we have those amazing times to reflect, like pause and reflect and react. So you can really take the time. And one of the readers gave me a really great feedback. This past week, we were at an event of another book launch, and she said, it really helped me to find the joy now, right? Because with everything happening, everything that's going on, she was feeling pretty stuck, right? And
Mm-hmm.
she loves gardening, those are her things. And she said the book, it gave me the action step to do something that I love. And she started gardening again, right? And I
Wow.
know how much she loves that.
Mm-hmm.
And she was a great reminder to do that, like now, like something small that I can do to give me joy as I move forward. So getting that from her was really great to hear. And he also reminded me that there's so many great things in our chapters, that whatever you're facing, and like maybe you're stuck because you're like, listen, I know I want to be greater than this. I know I'm meant to be more than what I am right now. I just don't know how to get there.
Right.
I mean, like the beginning of the book helps you with that.
Yeah.
Like, how did you get started with that? If you're facing something super hard and you're like, this is it, I don't know how I'm going to go from here. The crossroads are going to help you with that. Like, there's just so many great things in our book
Yeah.
that you can pick a chapter. Like, so of course, people can read it from the cover to cover, but maybe you look at the content, your table, and look like, okay, this is what I'm facing right now. Look
Mm-hmm.
at the title of the chapters and go straight to that chapter. Because
Right.
if you start anywhere in the book and any of the chapters, you will get what you need at that moment
Right.
and to help you to the next step. And then you can come back and start from the beginning. But I encourage you to not feel like you have to read the whole thing to get to that chapter that really is what you need at this moment. Like,
Yeah.
the book will meet you where you are.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I really am excited for more people to read it. I think even, as many times as we've read it, just in preparation for it, it reminds me every single time of just different things. And I find myself looking at it and, really when I start to think about, okay, I have to probably post something or and then I'm reading and I'm like, wow, this was, because it's so timely. Like a lot of this
Yeah.
stuff is things that we went through and things that we're still going through. And I think the biggest piece of it is like, we are really redefining success, redefining what that looks like for us and hopefully what that looks like for you. And I think, a big question that you'll find is like a part of the theme is just, are you growing or are you just busy?
Mm-hmm.
Are you meeting the mark of what you have defined for your life and for, your purpose, or are you just being?
Status quo, yeah.
Yeah, like are you, and I think that in this season, going back to kind of how we started this conversation off, is just like I often have to ask myself, it's like, okay, is this part of my non-negotiables? Is this part of my core values? Is this part of what we have identified as something related to one of our businesses? Or is this just busy work? Or is this ego work? Am I doing this because of X, Y, and Z? And having to be really intentional of like, all right, certain days of the week, like I'm not available. And unless it's like a real code red, like this has to happen. I'm not doing wee hours. I'm not doing that because I think for me, I know what my capacity is. And I've gone through like the hurdles of, kids and, I still have them. They're still around.
They're growing.
But yeah,
A
but
little bigger
they're
now.
bigger now. And
Yeah.
so like, where you are, I remember and I'm just like, ooh, give her all the tools, Lord, because it's a lot. And it's just and it's tiring and but it's also like it's your biggest job. Like
Mm-hmm.
that is going to be your biggest job is and there might be things that you get really great and there might be things that you're like, listen, you survived.
Right. You may listen. Did you eat today? Was there food in the house?
I have
Yes.
to remind these kids, I'm like, listen, I don't want to hear nothing. Y'all all survived. Wait, you're fine. And I think you have to have grace with yourself, right? Like as much as we want to be perfectionists in every area of our lives, like there's certain things that are just going to like you're gonna have to learn as you go. And parenthood is definitely one of those things that you just learn as you go and you just figure it out.
Yeah, and I think what I'm finding, because sometimes I find myself tired. I'm like, why are you tired? Like, but it's like if you're not sleeping constantly, like consistently through the night, I think you are gonna get tired, right?
Yeah.
Because the old me could be up 24 hours, but I could sleep 8, 9 hours the next day, so no problem. So that makes
Right.
sense. But now it's like I go at a certain time to bed, and I may have to wake up a couple times throughout the night to check on the baby, or if he, is not feeling well.
Right.
So it is a different thing because I'm like, if I just got up at 3:30 to check on you, and I'm supposed to get up at 4, but I'm tired. So
Right.
giving myself that grace, but also knowing like, okay, this is what it is. So now how do I create what do I need to do personally, right? So that when I go back to the book, okay, I'm going to reflect on this. This is what's happening.
Yeah.
What do I have to do, implement in a way to help me get up at 4? Because that is what works for me. Like, at night I'm too tired. Like,
Yeah.
you cannot get me to do anything after like a certain time. My body's already exhausted from the day, but in the morning I'm alert. I'm awake. So kind of going back to those things, like just implementing. And I think that's what part of the journey is. Like, maybe life happens. Like, for us, it took us 8 years to write this book because life was happening. We were on our journey.
Right.
And now we wrote the book. It's out and it's helping a lot of people. It has helped us when we wrote it. It's helping us still.
Right.
It's like redefining what works for you now. Because what worked for me 3 years ago is not working for me now.
Right.
Because my whole life has changed. So now it's like,
Absolutely.
let's redefine. And it's okay. Like, what works for me now. So wherever you are right now, if you're like, listen, I'm trying the things I used to do, but it's not working. Let me tell you, welcome to the club of redefining and growing.
Right.
Whether you have a kid, a niece, or a new job, a new career, right? Sometimes you're going back to school and you're working and you're taking care of an older parent. Like, there's so many things.
Right.
I invite you to read the book, grab the book, but then also reflect as the questions are coming out at the end for you to give you that space and grace to do that and redefine what works for you at this moment, because now you're no longer today who you were then. And this is why you need to redefine what works for you.
Absolutely.
And create new habits, new disciplines, new things to help you get to your goals. Because your goals are there. You still want to achieve them. You still have the discipline. You still have the resilience. But you do now have to create a different way of how you accomplish things, because the old ways won't work no more.
Right. Right. That's so true. And it really just speaks to the gift of discomfort. Like it feels uncomfortable. It's not, nobody wants to be in a season of just transformation, like depending on what it is, right? Maybe, but because, the feeling of messiness is a lot. And so understanding that we have to go through the mess to be able to find the growth and to feel what's right. And I think that, we are all like in that space right now. And so just knowing that, just recognizing that you are not alone in that journey. We are all on that journey and we are in growth seasons right now. And if you're in that, just understanding that manage that resistance to that growth, like definitely don't push against it. Like the more I think we kind of fight against wanting to transform or wanting to be in a space, we want to be, most of the time we just want to live a light, soft life. But the truth, as you mentioned, like those habits and certain behaviors that may have worked for you 3 and 4 years ago, it's not working right now because you're no longer in that season.
Right.
So that strategy, it's no different like when you go get your coffee. When that coffee color ain't correct, you already know. It's just like,
The taste, you're like,
why does that coffee look that light? You already know. And so understanding that there is a formula to your life. And sometimes we can get so caught up in the routine and just of doing things, not realizing like, wait, my formula changed.
Yes.
And I never really stopped to see what my new formula is. And I think that we have to embrace it in life and in business, because business culture right now is so different. Everything's evolving. Things are so quick. Things are so automated. And that can be overwhelming and that can be scary for a lot of people. But you have to make a decision. Do you become paralyzed by it? Do you continue to fight against the change? Or do you prepare yourself? And I think I was reading this article the other day when they talked about your circle determines your ceiling. So if everybody in your circle right now is having a similar thought process, similar kind of strategies, but they're not necessarily progressing at the level. In our book, there's a chapter called The Power of Proximity. And so recognizing that your circle does determine your ceiling. And so if you're spending more time in your personal development, who is a part of your circle? Who are you taking advice from? What are you modeling? What's kind of like your ideal, like, I want to be here? And who are you surrounding yourself in these spaces and seasons? And if you find yourself that you're not making progress, that you're finding yourself being more and more frustrated and further away from your goals, it very well could be the power of proximity. Who's in your circle, and how are you positioning yourself to be in alignment with people who are not necessarily, they don't have to be on the same journey, but are willing to support you in this transformation in a way that's healthy, safe, and productive.
Yeah, and there's also who's not in your circle, because maybe you don't have, moms that have young kids that are doing it and are excelling and are thriving. And maybe that's what's happening, right? Like, 'cause I'm like thinking through, I'm like, I do know a couple people that have this and they're going through this. Have I talked to them? Have I had coffee with them? So I'm grateful for the awareness. I think it is why it's important to reflect and talk and share this, because if many other people are listening, they're go, go, go. They haven't taken the time to reflect. So I am grateful for the power of awareness. And understand, like, okay, this is what's happening. Great. Now that I know, that I understand, then I can move differently.
Right.
Because now you have put words, right? You have put a feeling to this thought that you couldn't articulate. Now that I can articulate it, it makes more sense. And I'm like, perfect. Then that's what it is. Then this is how we move forward.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us for another amazing episode. And if you are in this season right now of feeling maybe overwhelmed, feeling stuck, feeling unsure, just know that those feelings matter. They're valid. And recognizing those feelings, I think, are the first big step. If you're tired like us and we're like, actually, I'm not trying to have 10,000 jobs anymore. I'm trying to do one really, really well and a couple automated type things that I don't have to do, because we joke about it, but it's all in all seriousness. I think understanding the seasons that you're in, recognizing that you're not alone in that. We are in that space right now of looking at work that we've done for well over a decade, and we're trying to create more automated systems, making sure the right people are in place, making sure we are pouring into ourselves so that we can be at the most optimal level for what we have defined as priority and success and all of those things in this season of our life. So just know that it is a journey. It's a constant journey. What worked for you 10, 15 years ago may still work for you, but if it doesn't, that's okay. Release it, step into it, get our book, The Journey from Who You Are to Who You're Meant to Be. There's a lot of tips, tools, and strategies. And certainly feel free to inbox us. We would love to hear from you.
Yes, and then what's next for us? So I think sometimes, right, like you guys are listening, you have the books. We are definitely working on the Audible part of the book, because we have got a lot of requests. You guys want to hear our voice, we get it. So we're gonna be doing this before the book. So the Audible part is coming first quarter of the year. That is the goal. We're also looking to translate the book in Spanish for all our Spanish listeners. I like, for me, I speak Spanish and English, and I love reading in Spanish and listening to things in Spanish. So we're going to be working on that as well. And we're building a community. So Christina and I are very big. Like, when we started this 15 years ago, it was her and I being there for each other. And we are now in a season where we are seeing similar things again, where women really need and some allies, right? Some men need a space where they can just come in and be who they are and build from a place of authenticity.
Right.
They want to build legacy. They want to build wealth, but they don't want to be tired at the end. They don't want to retire at 80. They want to retire in 5 years. So we are building that community. I think the first step is to get the book. We're going to be doing a book club soon, and we're going to be putting out more information on how you can be part of the community. Right now, if you go to LinkedIn, we actually have a group, so you can join our group. We share content there, and you can be part of our community.
Yes. So yeah, find the group is called The Journey Group, or you can inbox us individually on Spotify, info@trueprintforlife.com, and let us know how we can support, how we can help you create that village. So thank you for tuning in, and as always,
it's bigger than you. Thank you so much for listening today. We're excited, and we hope that you follow us on
Instagram, True Print for Life, YouTube channel, also True Print for Life. And make sure that you share, like, watch our videos. Make sure that you follow us on all streaming platforms.